Hare Krishna. I welcome everyone to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have Her Grace Kirtida Sundari Mataji to enlighten us on topic Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Leela 1.39 onwards. Hare Krishna Kirtida Sundari Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Please take over the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining us. So we'll start. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jayo Jayo Shri Chaitanya Jayo Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we are reading from Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Leela, chapter 1, entitled Rupa Goswami's second meeting with the Lord. And we will be starting with text number 39. Anupamera lagi tanra kichu vilamba haila bhaktagana pashaila lagana paila. Translation: There are some delay because of the death of Anupama, and therefore when Rupa Goswami went to Bengal to see the devotees there, he could not get in touch with them because they had already left. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Charu Swami Niti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you all so much for joining. Thank you so much for giving all your wonderful association. And now, I really beg each and every one of you to please shower your heartfelt prayers, wishes, blessings, so that I can speak something relevant in relation to what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami wants to convey in this beautiful book in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and what Srila Prabhupada also wants to convey through the purports of the verses that he wrote in this book. So I really beg prayers, blessings, and wishes from each and every one of you. Vanchakalpatarubhascha kripa sindhu bhaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Okay, so Hare Krishna. So now we are in Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Leela. So till now, just to give a context that where are we in Antya Leela, though we just started. So we read about the deliverance of dog by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the dog who was following Shivananda Sen, and how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu induced the dog to chant the holy name. And on the other side, we saw that how Rupa Goswami, he went to Vrindavan, he met Subudhi Roy, and then later, when he came to know that his elder brother Sanatan Goswami is coming to Vrindavan, Rupa Goswami, along with his brother Anupama, they both started towards Bengal with a desire to meet Shri Sanatan Goswami onto the way. But when Rupa Goswami was actually in Vrindavan, there he desired to write 2 dramas, 2 natakas on Krishna's pastimes. And there in Vrindavan itself, he started actually composing some introductory verses. So basically he started his work on writing those dramas in Vrindavan itself. And then on to his way to Bengal also, he was absorbed in the thoughts. He was thinking on the same line, how to write dramas, and then he started taking some notes, whatever, realizations he used to get. So in this way, both the brothers, Srila Rupa Goswami and Anupama, they both came and reached Bengal. So we all covered this in the last class, but now, moving forward, so finally they both were not able to meet Sanatan Goswami. But as soon as both the brothers came to Bengal, that is Gauda Desh, Anupama, he left his body, right? And so Rupa Goswami has to do the final rites of Anupama, and he has to stay there for some time. Then later, when he got the news that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in Puri, so he somehow desired, developed that intense desire to meet Mahaprabhu. And then he came to know that already so many devotees from Bengal and Kulingram, along with Advaita Acharya, they have already left for Bengal to meet Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. So Rupa Goswami, the verse that we read today, states that Rupa Goswami was not able to get in touch with the devotees, right? That's the 39th verse that we read, that because there was some delay, he has to do some final rites for Anupama. So Rupa Goswami, he was not able to get in touch with the devotees of Bengal. And so, because they have already left to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when he was not able to meet the devotees, so Rupa Goswami thought, okay, let me go alone. And then all alone, he started his journey towards Orissa, that is to Jagannath Puri, to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Moving forward, we'll cover a few verses today, and we'll go via the storyline only, that how it goes, the pastimes. So in the province of Orissa, there is a place which is known as Satyabhamapura. So there actually Srila Rupa Goswami took little rest, and he spent that night in that village. So that night in Satyabhamapura, he got a dream. What dream he got? That a very beautiful and celestial woman came before him, and very politely and mercifully she told Rupa Goswami that by the mercy that you should actually write a separate drama about me. And then she blessed Rupa Goswami that by my mercy, the drama that you will write will be extraordinary beautiful. So this was the blessing and order she gave to Rupa Goswami in the dream. Anyways, next morning after having that dream, Srila Rupa Goswami realized that the lady who came in his dream was none other than Satyabhama herself, who is the eternal consort of Sri Krishna. It's her order that he should write a separate drama about her. So we all know that Krishna's activities and pastimes, they are broadly divided into 2 categories. Can I request devotees to be on mute? A little disturbance is coming. Okay, thank you so much. So, Hare Krishna. Okay. So we all know that Krishna's activities and pastimes, they are broadly divided into 2 categories. One is that Krishna's pastimes and activities which are inside Vrindavan, and another is Krishna's pastimes outside Vrindavan. But there are 3 aspects also to Krishna's pastimes. One is his Vrindavan Leela, second his Mathura Leela, and third is the Dwarka Leela. So there are 3, But broadly, they are categorized into two parts. One is activities inside Vrindavan, and the other is the activities outside Vrindavan, which includes Mathura and Dwarka. So Rupa Goswami was thinking to write one drama actually to all the Krishna's pastimes. That includes Vrindavan Leela and Dwarka Leela and Mathura Leela. But now, after having that dream, he decided that he should actually divide his work into two parts. And one which deals with Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, and second which deals with Krishna's pastimes outside Vrindavan. That is his Mathura and Dwarka Leela. So thus absorbed in this thought, he finally reached Jagannath Puri and he approached there to our dear most Namacharya, our beloved Srila Haridas Thakur. So out of intense love and mercy, Srila Haridas Thakur very warmly, he welcomed Rupa Goswami and told him that Srila Sanatan Goswami had already informed Haridas Thakur that Rupa Goswami would be coming. So Haridas Thakur was quite aware of the presence of Rupa Goswami, but very warmly and heartily he welcomed Rupa Goswami. Anyways, next Kaviraj Goswami writes that after seeing the Upala Bhoga ceremony at Jagannath Puri, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would regularly come to see Haridas Thakur every day. So this is the verse that Kaviraj Goswami told. He wrote that after seeing the Upala Bhoga ceremony in Jagannath Puri. So what is this Upala Bhoga ceremony? So Upala Bhoga is a particular type of offering that is performed just behind the Garuda Stamba on a stone slab. So that stone slab is known as Upala. And all food that is offered within the temple room, just below the altar of Jagannath. So this bhoga, it is offered on the stone slab within the vision of the public. So the curtains are not closed, but it is just offered on the stone slab. And therefore, this is known as Upala Bhoga, because Upala means a stone slab. So every day Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to visit this Upala Bhoga ceremony at the temple of Jagannath Puri, and after seeing that he used to go to visit Haridas Thakur and would bring some Mahaprasad also for him. So why he has to bring and why not Haridas Thakur can himself go is because that Haridas Thakur, being born in taking birth in the Muslim family, he was not allowed to enter the temple. So he would just stay in his hut near Siddha Bakula and he would engage himself in Nama Bhajan. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Jagannath himself, would daily come to see Srila Haridas Thakur, and also he would bring some Mahaprasad for him. So similarly, now Rupa Goswami is also with Haridas Thakur, and Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, actually, we know that how they were also not allowed to enter Jagannath Puri because of their connection with Nawab Hussain Shah. So we all know that how previously Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami were known as Dabir Khas and Sakar Malik. So because of their connection with Nawab Hussain Shah, they were also not allowed to enter the temple of Puri, the Jagannath Puri. But Mahaprabhu, very mercifully would come out every day to meet this intimate devotees, Rupa Goswami and Haridas Thakur, with a plate of Mahaprasad. So one day when Rupa Goswami was sitting with Haridas Thakur at Siddha Bakula, at that time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came with a plate of Mahaprasad. So seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Rupa Goswami immediately offered his dandavats to Lord, and the Lord, very kindly, very warmly, he took Rupa Goswami in his arms and embraced him. Then finally, all three of them, Mahaprabhu, Rupa Goswami, and Haridas Thakur, they sat together, they inquired about one another, about all the auspicious news, and then they started talking. There, Rupa Goswami told Mahaprabhu that how he left Vrindavan, having a desire to meet Sanatan Goswami, but he was not able to meet him because, he came by the path on the bank of Ganges, whereas Sanatan Goswami came by the public road. So both were not able to meet. And then Rupa Goswami told about the death of his brother Anupama. And then both, but he didn't say anything, not a single word he mentioned about the dream he got in Satyabhamapura, that how a celestial woman came and ordered him to write a separate drama. Rupa Goswami didn't even mention anything about this to anyone, not even to Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but to anyone. He didn't mention about all this dream. And so Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he met Rupa Goswami, he heard about all his well-being, about the death of Anupama, and then finally Mahaprabhu left. The next day again, Mahaprabhu came to meet them, and then he introduced Rupa Goswami to all other devotees who were present there. And Rupa Goswami, he very respectfully offered his obeisances to all of them. And those devotees were Advaita Acharya, Nityananda Prabhu, Ramananda Rai, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and they were all quite a few devotees. And then Mahaprabhu told Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu that you both should show some special mercy, you should, both of you, show your wholeheartedly mercy to Rupa Goswami. And then, what he mentioned is, Tomara dunhara kripate inhara hayu tache shakti yate vivartita prene Krishna rasa bhakti. So he actually ordered that you both of them, Tomhara dohana kripa, because both of you, it's because of both of your mercy, please show it wholeheartedly so that Rupa Goswami can get some Krishna Rasa Bhakti. So this is a beautiful verse. May Rupa Goswami, by your mercy, become so powerful that he will be able to describe the transcendental mellows of devotional service. So we know that how Rupa Goswami, when he met Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Prayag, at that time, Mahaprabhu told Rupa Goswami that this devotional service is a vast ocean, right? This activities of devotional services unto the Supreme Lord, it's a vast ocean. But somehow I can give you a drop of this whole nectar. So 10 days when Rupa Goswami was in Prayag with the Mahaprabhu, at that time, Mahaprabhu, he gave him the nectar of that devotional service just in a form of a drop. So though he said that this devotion is a vast ocean, it's a sindhu, but I'll give you just a drop, a bindu, so that you can get some taste in devotional service. And it is also, Kaviraj Goswami quotes, Krishna Bhakti, right, it's Krishna Bhakti, no, it's actually, I'm just forgetting. Yeah, Krishna Tattva Bhakti Tattva Rasa Tattva Pranta Shikha Ele Sabha Shikha Ele Prabhu Bhagavata Siddhanta. So there, Mahaprabhu actually, he told the whole, the essence, the conclusion of everything to Srila Rupa Goswami. He told about Krishna Tattva, he explained about Bhakti Tattva, and then he explained about the Rasa Tattva. And then all this he explained to Rupa Goswami through Bhagavata Siddhanta, through Srimad Bhagavatam. So though he has already blessed Rupa Goswami with his kind and nice association, divine association, but still, he requested, Mahaprabhu requested Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Acharya that you also, both of you, should bless, wholeheartedly bless Rupa Goswami so that Rupa Goswami may describe this transcendental mellows of devotional service. So this is how, we should understand that without the mercy of Vaishnavas, we devotees cannot progress in our spiritual life. He was actually Rupa Goswami, who is a Nitya Saddha, he's a Rupa Manjari, right? But he self-realized, and how we just mere mortal souls, how can we attain perfection in our spiritual life? So we should understand that we are just the Kripa Siddhas. Whatever insignificant services we are performing is just because of the mercy of Vaishnavas. If we just see our life in our Krishna conscious journey, so we see that it's only because of the association, getting in touch of some devotees, that we came into Krishna conscious. Maybe a devotee, maybe Mahaprasad, maybe book, but even this Mahaprasad, how we got is through devotees. If we say that we came into Krishna conscious by reading Srila Prabhupada books, but that book is also given to us by some devotee. So it's only by the association of these devotees we came into Krishna conscious. No matter how we came, but we came, it's because of the association of some devotees. Somewhere some Vaishnava literally prayed for us, and that's why we are in Krishna conscious. And then after coming to Krishna conscious, it's because of that sadhu sangha only that we stayed in Krishna conscious. That's why we all are here. It's because of this sadhu sangha. Have not been this association of devotees, we would have simply left this process. But it's because of this association of sadhus, of devotees, that we are still surviving and breathing in Krishna conscious. And then, again, by the mercy of Krishna, that we got in touch with our spiritual master. So because of the devotees of the Lord, they prayed for us, and finally we got in touch with our spiritual master, got initiated, and now because of the mercy of spiritual master and other Vaishnavas, we are able to offer some insignificant service in Krishna conscious movement. In this movement, we have become just an instrument in Mahaprabhu's mission. So it is all because of the mercy of Vaishnavas. The credit 100% goes to Vaishnavas and of course our spiritual master. And this is what Mahaprabhu is also teaching us. Though Rupa Goswami was a Nitya Siddha, but still he's requesting Dvaitacharya and Nityananda Prabhu and all the devotees that you should bless Rupa Goswami. So these blessings of Vaishnavas is very, very important. Of course, in his book of Sharanagati, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also writes, Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Kuroi Dase Trina Pekatihina Sakal Sahane Baladiya Koro Nijmani Sprihahina. Oh Gurudev, I'm just a servant. I'm just one insignificant servant of yours who is just desiring just one drop of mercy from you. And I'm lower than a blade of grass. Give me strength. Let me be as you are. How? Without any desire and without any aspiration. Sakala sahane baladiya koro. I pray that you only give me the strength so that I may perform some insignificant service. And then, he also writes, Yogyata vichare kichu nahi paaye tumhara karuna sara. That if you examine me, Yogyata vichare, if you will examine me, then you will find no qualifications. Why? Because I really don't have any qualifications. I am just Tomhara Karuna Sar. I'm just, made up of your mercy. It's your mercy is all that I'm made up of. Karuna hoile kandiya kandiya pranana rakhibo ara. And if you, oh my Gurudev, oh my spiritual master, if you are not merciful unto me, then I'll simply weep, kandiya, kandiya. I'll simply go on crying. And then pranana rakhibo ara, because then I'll not be able to maintain my life here. So this is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, and we should always try to follow in his footsteps, that yes, we are Kripa Siddhas, and it's only because of the mercy of Vaishnavas and Gurudev that is what we are made up of. Otherwise, what to talk about other services, even holding a bead bag and start chanting will not come unless and until we are blessed by the mercy of Vaishnavas. Because with the offenses, we cannot get, forget about the taste, even we'll not get inspired to chant one round, to say Krishna Nam once in our lifetime. It's not possible. It's only because the mercy of Vaishnavas, the strength that is being given to us by our spiritual master, that every morning we are able to wake up and hold our beat back and start chanting. And of course, perform rest of our services. Anyways, coming back to our Chaitanya Charitamrita. So after, receiving the mercy and blessings from all the devotees, Rupa Goswami, he became the object of love and affection to all the devotees, including all those devotees who came from Kulingram and from Bengal, and all those who resided in Orissa. So like this, every day Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go to see Rupa Goswami, and whatever prasadam he would receive from the Jagannath temple, Mahaprabhu would deliver it to Rupa Goswami and Haridas Thakur. This went on, and Mahaprabhu would talk to them, and then after some time, they would, Mahaprabhu will leave for his noontime duties. So this went on a couple of days, and after receiving mercy from Mahaprabhu and the association of all the Vaishnavas, Rupa Goswami felt unlimited pleasure. And after doing all his noon duties, what Mahaprabhu would do, that Mahaprabhu would take all the devotees with him to perform washing and cleaning of Gundicha temple. So we all know that what it is, the Gundicha Marjana. So there Mahaprabhu would take everybody to perform this Gundita Marjana. This is also, a very important point, that how important it is to wash, to clean the temple, to clean the utensils, to clean the deities' paraphernalia, because that will clean our heart. Chaito Darpana Marjanam happens with it. And Mahaprabhu himself, is teaching through his live example. He used to take all the devotees for this washing and cleaning of Gundicha temple. And then he would go to Aitotar garden. And there he would arrange a picnic over there, and all the devotees would accept prasadam. And even Haridas Thakur and Rupa Goswami, when they go to this Aitota garden, this Aitota, and there they also see all the devotees, they are simply accepting prasadam and chanting the holy name, and seeing this, Rupa Goswami and Haridas Thakur will become ecstatic, and they would also start dancing. So what is this actually, Aitota garden? So Tota in Odisha, it means garden. So Aitota. So just on a side note, I want to give a small description about what is Aitota and how Tota Gopinath came. So while residing in this garden of trees and creepers, Gadadhar Pandit was also there, and he would recite Srimad Bhagavatam every day. Every afternoon he would recite, and Mahaprabhu would attend regularly his Bhagavatam classes. And he would hear especially two things, Dhruva Charita and Prahlad Charita. So 100 times, he will just tell Gadadhar Pandit to repeatedly sing these two. So while, one day, while residing in this garden of this Aitota, this garden where Gadadhar Pandit was there, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was feeling immense separation from Krishna and crying out, "Oh my Krishna, where are you? Where is my Prananath?" He became so ecstatic that he started digging the earth, and in search of the Lord, he started doing that. And finally, he uncovered a most beautiful deity of Krishna. And then he presented this deity to Gadadhar Pandit. And Mahaprabhu named that deity Gopinath. And since then, the deity, to the normal common people, they started calling that deity as Tota Gopinath. Okay, Mahaprabhu may name that deity as Gopinath, and since Tota is garden, and just by digging the garden, Mahaprabhu uncovered that deity. So there they all started calling that deity as Tota Gopinath. And then Mahaprabhu, he engaged Gadadhar Pandit in Gopinath's service, and he gave him Kshetra Sannyas. So what is that Kshetra Sannyas? That yes, you will be staying here forever, hereafter, and then you will be serving the deity, the Tota Gopinath there. Now this deity was in the standing form, and Gadadhar Pandit Prabhu was, very nicely, very dedicatedly used to worship the deities. And after the departure of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from this material world, somehow, Gadadhar Pandit, he started feeling so much separation from Mahaprabhu. He felt so much devastated that his body actually just bent over. He was just 47 years at that time, but it was incapable for him to continue his service of dressing Gopinath, offering garland, and doing all sorts of other services. So he just thought that let me engage some pujari in service of Gopinath. So that night, Lord came in the dream and told Gadadhar Pandit that why are you thinking of engaging some other pujari? I want service only and only from you. You are the only one who is going to serve me. And then Gadadhar Prabhu explained his condition, but still Mahaprabhu, he came in the dream of Gadadhar Pandit and he expressed that, no, I want only you to continue my service. Please don't engage any other pujari. So next morning when Gadadhar Pandit entered the deity room, what he saw that the Gopinath was sitting down, and just to receive the service of Gadadhar Pandit Prabhu, Gopinath came in the sitting position. So Tota Gopinath is said that it's the only Krishna deity in the whole world that is in the sitting down position. And it is said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also ended his manifested pastimes in Jagannath Puri by entering into the knee of Tota Gopinath deity. So this was just on the side note because it was mentioned that how Mahaprabhu took all the devotees to Vaitota, the garden, and there he used to have the picnic. So coming back onto our Chaitanya Charitamrita, then Kaviraj Goswami Pad, he writes that one day Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to see Srila Rupa Goswami, and then all-knower Lord, who doesn't have any clue, out of nowhere, no context, no connection as such, he simply spoke, Krishnera bahira nahi, Kariya vraja haite, vraja chhadi Krishna kabhu najana kahaite. All of a sudden, without any context, from nowhere, the Lord spoke. And he said, do not try to take Krishna out of Vrindavan, for he does not go anywhere else at any time. Just saying this verse, he again quoted another verse. Krishna anyo yadu sambhuto yah purna so asti atah para vrindavanam paritajya sakwachan naiva gacchati. What he said, the Krishna who is known as Yadunandan, who's known as Yadu Kumar, is Vasudev Krishna. He is different from the Krishna who is the son of Nand Maharaj. Yadu Kumar Krishna manifests his pastimes in the cities of Mathura and Dwarka, but Krishna, the son of Nand Maharaj, never at any time leaves Vrindavan. It's such a beautiful verse. I'll just repeat the translation. The Krishna who is known as Yadu Kumar is Vasudev Krishna. He is different from the Krishna who is the son of Nand Maharaj. Yadu Kumar Krishna manifests his pastimes in the cities of Mathura and Dwarka, but Krishna, who is the son of Nand Maharaj, he had never at any time he leaves Vrindavan. So these two verses, Mahaprabhu immediately spoke to Rupa Goswami without any context. Now, this verse is actually included in Laghu Bhagavatamrita by Srila Rupa Goswami. So now let's try to understand this. Hereafter, whatever I'll be speaking, I'll just want to make a comment, disclaimer, that whatever I'll be speaking will be, all the references will be lying in Laghu Bhagavatamrita. And I'll not be, I'll be just narrating what Rupa Goswami wrote. But if any one of you want a reference, then I can always provide and share the chapter and the verse number So if any one of you wants, so kindly hear it very attentively, that how Mahaprabhu is making this statement. It is very important for us to know. So we all know that to relieve the earth of her burden and to respond to the words of demigods, Krishna appeared at the end of Dwapar Yuga in 28th cycle of the 4 yugas in the 7th Manvantara, which is known as Vaivashata Manvantara. So now we know that there are 4 quadruples expansions, that is Vasudev, Sankarshan, Aniruddha and Pradyumna. So Sankarshan was actually sent before, who appears as the older brother, Balaram. And then along with Pradyumna and Aniruddha, Vasudev, who is also the super soul of all living entities, he entered the mind of Vasudev, the Devaki and Vasudev who are in the prison. So there he entered the mind of Vasudev, and from there he went to the heart of Vasudev. From Vasudev's heart, all 3 of them, Vasudev, Aniruddha and Pradyumna, they all 3, right? They transferred themselves to Devaki's heart and to become manifest there. And then Sukadev Goswami in Srimad Bhagavatam, he describes that thereafter, accompanied by his plenary expansions, the fully opulent Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is all auspicious, was transferred to Devaki's heart, and then she became beautiful by carrying Lord Krishna in her heart. So nurtured by the nectar of Devaki's ecstatic love, which consists of exclusive parental affection, Lord Hari grew in her heart like the waxing moon. And then one day, in the middle of the night, on the 8th day of that waxing moon in the month of Bhadrapad, Krishna disappeared from Devaki's heart and showed himself on her bed in the birthing room of the prison. And Devaki and others, they believed that the child has taken birth and in an ordinary manner, but that the birth had been an easy one. So they all believed that yes, the child has taken birth in an ordinary way, and that the birth was quite simple, quite easy one. So, they were into that mood. So later we know that how Krishna showed his 4-armed form, and then, on the request of Devaki and Vasudev, he came back to his 2-armed form. So then, on the orders of Krishna, of the Supreme Lord, who appeared as a 4-handed form, Vasudev, what he did, he went to the house of Nanda Maharaj and the queen of Raja, who is Yashoda Maharaj. So he entrusted his son to her, picked up her daughter and left. So Krishna, who is Yashoda's son eternally, also took birth from her. Now this is the point. This confirms that Yashoda, she gave birth to 2 children, one male child and the other female child. So she gave birth to 2. So Vasudev, he carried Krishna to Nanda Maharaj, and there he left the heart, his Krishna there, and he took the daughter and he brought back to the prison house. But Harivamsa describes that actually in the 8th month, before the completion of the normal term of pregnancy, both of these women, Devaki and Yashoda, they gave birth at the same time. Just exhausted by the labor of this childbirth, Yashoda was overwhelmed with sleep. She understood that the child has taken birth, but she didn't know whether it's a boy or a girl. And then when Vasudev, being inspired by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was about to take the newborn child, Yogamaya, the Lord's spiritual energy, she took birth as the daughter from Yashoda's womb. So neither Vasudev nor Yashoda, however, noticed that the boy and the girl, they took birth a few hours apart. So when Vasudev went to Nanda Maharaj, he wasn't aware that the boy is also there. He just kept his child and took the baby girl and brought to the prison house. And there, another Krishna was there, who was Yashoda's son. So neither of them know. Yashoda was also actually unaware that she had given birth to a second child, a girl whom Vasudev had already taken away. So she was also unaware of this fact. All this is because of the labor fatigue, that prevented her to see all these signs. Then Vasudev went took the female child and returned to the city, to the prison house. At that time, Lord Vasudev, whom Vasudev brought, he merged into Srila Leela Purushottam, Yashoda Mother Krishna, Yashoda Nandan Krishna, and they both became one. So Vasudev, who brought, the baby Krishna, that Vasudev Krishna, that son of Vasudev Krishna, he got merged into Yashodanandan Krishna. So they both children became one. Thus, this verse that Mahaprabhu spoke makes sense, that Krishna, born among the Yadus or Vasudev Krishna, is someone other than the complete Yashodanandan Krishna. So the original Krishna, the Vrindavan Krishna, he never leaves Vrindavan to go anywhere else. In Vrindavan, he always has two hands, two armed form, and he never display his four-armed form, and he just play constantly in the exclusive company of that cowherd girlfriends. So now one may ask this question, that if Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, then why did the Vrajvasis suffer such pain of separation that Uddhava has to go and to console them? And then why did the Vrajvasis turn they went towards, the great distance to Kurukshetra just to meet Krishna? So all these answers to these questions, Rupa Goswami actually mentions in Laghu Bhagavatamrita, where he says that, yes, Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. But then how to understand this question, he gives the reference of Prakat and Aprakat Leela. So there Rupa Goswami says that in his Prakat Leela, Krishna leaves Vrindavan. And he does all his Mathura and Dwarka pastimes. But in his Aprakat Leela, he stays in Vrindavan, not seen by the Vrajvasis, but just he entered in their hearts so that he can enhance their mood of separation. So there, Krishna, in his Aprakat form, he entered into the hearts of all the Vrajvasis. And there he was not, externally visible to them, but he was there in Vrindavan in his Aprakat form. And he just enhanced their mood of separation so that they can relish the mood of separation more. So this was the verse I found the reference in Laghu Bhagavatamrita. And then finally coming back to our Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after reciting these two verses to Rupa Goswami, he went to perform his noontime duties as usual, leaving Rupa Goswami totally stunned and surprised. Because remember, Rupa Goswami, when he told about that how he's traveled from Vrindavan to Bengal and then to Puri, and then how Anupama died. So he was giving all that he told everything to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he didn't tell anything about the dream that he got in that Satyabhama Pura. So now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all of a sudden he started, saying this, that Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, and don't try to take Krishna out of Vrindavan. So that's what he said. So Rupa Goswami was quite perplexed, and he was totally surprised that, wow, what's this? Mahaprabhu just told us two verses and then he went to his noontime duties. So Rupa Goswami was thinking that now I understood that why Satyabhama, in that village of Satyabhama Pura, she ordered me to write 2 different dramas because Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, right? So just, to confirm that dream was actually true, Mahaprabhu spoke these 2 verses just to guide me. And then Rupa Goswami thought that previously I thought of writing a single drama describing all the pastimes of Krishna. Krishna is Vrindavan, in Mathura and Dwarka in just one Nataka. But now, after first having that dream and then that dream confirmed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by these 2 verses, Rupa Goswami thought that now I will separate the 2 dramas. And then he wrote 2 natakas, that is Vidagdha Madhava and Lalit Madhava. So these 2 dramas he wrote. The Vidagdha Madhava deals and describes about Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, and the other Nataka that he wrote, that is Lalit Madhava, that describes Krishna's pastimes in Dwarka and in Mathura. So here we'll end up our session, because next verse onwards there will be a beautiful verses and about little bit about Rath Yatra, that how Mahaprabhu relished Puri's Rath Yatra and how ecstatic verses would come out from Mahaprabhu's lotus mouth, and how Rupa Goswami, who is Chaitanya Manobhishtam, he'll relish and he'll compose beautiful verses. And those beautiful verses for the first time will come out from the lotus mouth of Rupa Goswami in Jagannath Puri in Siddha Bakula. So we'll be reading that. So thank you all so much for patiently listening and giving me all of your wonderful association. Trust me, it's because of all of your association, and of course this privilege and honor to speak something on Ante Leela, that I myself is getting benefit, because when we study in so detail, so that, and we relish it more. So thank you all so much. We'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Kaviraj Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol. I was just seeing how involved you are. It was so beautiful. Such a beautiful narration. So many things you have covered today, Mataji. It was really a wonderful class listening to you. And I just had one question. This is related to how Satyabhama appeared, and she said that it would be better to keep the 2 incidents separate. And also you were speaking about how Krishna is there in the Prakat and Aprakat as in the Tham. And I was just thinking, so basically we also, I don't know if this is a very bad question, but it just crossed my mind. So when we see that Satyabhama wanted to keep the pastime separate, and also generally we say we like to keep the rasas separate, meaning not like mixing of rasas. We do also see certain places where in certain scriptures where the Swakiya of the gopis is also mentioned, meaning like they get married at some point, or like that. So then how do we understand that the rasas are kept separate, meaning you do not want to disturb the rasas? All that I get, but then but the statements of others Puranas or scriptures are also not false, right? So how do we reconcile? I mean, I don't know if it's a proper question to ask, but how do we reconcile that? Because is it like depending on the devotees?
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Comment much.
So it's all depends upon devotees' mood. Those who relish the Swakya Rasa and those who relish the Parakya Rasa. Because Krishna reciprocates to each and every devotees in whatever mood they are. And then how you said that, yes, at some point, especially in Padma Purana, it is mentioned that Krishna, he actually went back to Vrindavan, and then how he married all the gopis, and he married even Srimati Radharani. So this is all mentioned in Padma Purana, that he went and finally all those intimate associates, he took them to Vaikuntha Loka, to his Goloka Vrindavan. But, as you said, that yes, it's the matter of the devotees who are having that mood. So Krishna reciprocates. And even Satyabhama, who is she? She is Srimati Radharani, right? So all these gopis who were feeling separation from Krishna, so they in their expansion, they were all those 16,108 they became those princes, and just to reciprocate with them, Krishna, he actually married all those 16,108.
So that was the verdict of Lalita Madhava, is it?
Yeah, Lalit Madhava, because Lalit Madhava is the one that describes the Krishna's pastimes outside Vrindavan.
Outside Vrindavan. So according to Lalita Madhava, they were all expansions, is how
they were all expansions. Even Laghu Bhagavatamrita, Rupa Goswami says that they were all expansions of all the gopis of Vrindavan.
But however, Vidakta Madhava just maintains them as who they are, meaning the Brajvasis alone.
Yes, just to enhance the mood, because as Satyabhama, she told that though, she is the expansion of Srimati Radharani, but still she instructed that please don't mix up, keep them separate. Because Krishna, apparently, he never leaves Vrindavan, right? So just to secure that mood that Krishna leaves Vrindavan, she instructed that, just don't mix those ras with the Dwarka and Madh. Because see, in Vrindavan, it's pure Madhurya. It's pure Madhurya. And outside Vrindavan, especially in Dwarka, there is Madhurya, but it is mixed with Aishwarya. It's not pure Madhurya. Madhurya is there because even in Swakya Rasa, there is a relationship of conjugal love between Krishna and other wives. But there it is mixed with Aishwarya. But whereas in Vrindavan, it is just pure Madhurya Rasa. So that's why she said that please, it's not about Swakya and Parakya. It just depends upon, the purity of the Rasa. So there is nothing mixed in Vrindavan. Everything is totally unalloyed, right? It's totally unalloyed. So therefore she instructed that please don't mix these two rasas, because it's exclusive devotion, exclusive madhurya, exclusive vatsalya, exclusive friendship, the sakya. But outside, these rasas are there. All these rasas are there, even outside Vrindavan, but they are mixed with awe and reverence. They are mixed with Aishwarya. So that's why she instructed that keep them separate.
So now I understand. Her instruction is mainly on keeping the rasa separate, but not specifically. I mean, why I was getting confused is because in Lalita Madhava, the identities are mixed up. Mixed up means what? They are identified as, one is identified as the expansion of, like how you said, Satyabhama and Radharani.
Lalita, yeah.
Identified as the same in one sense. Here, but what Satyabhama's instruction was, keep the rasa separate, not the identity itself separate.
Yes, keep the rasa separate, not the identity.
Not the identity, because that is where I had a confusion. But in still the identity as such remains different because it's only the early past tense, right? In Vidya.
Yes.
Yeah, makes sense, Mataji. Thank you for the very elaborate discussions and a wonderful class as always. And you appear very excited when you speak on Antyalila. Very nice. Very, very nice.
I really have no realizations as such, but just, somehow got to read so many scriptures because of this. Because, Antyalila is actually every verse of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is so sweet that we can dive so deep into it. One verse can take an hour. But, just to get the storyline, get the flow of what's happening. So I covered quite a few verses today. So, but thank you so much.
Which verse did you stop at? Sorry.
Yeah, I stopped at 71 today.
Haribol, good job, Mataji. Nice.
So from tomorrow, tomorrow onwards, it will be 72. And so many beautiful verses are coming up, so relishing, amazing verses.
72, right, for tomorrow?
Okay. Yeah, from tomorrow, 72. Anyone else has any questions, any comments, any corrections?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam.
Thank you so much for a beautiful class. Initially, I couldn't understand how when Satyabhama came in his dream, she said that, can you please write something on me? I was not able to understand how it is related to the verses spoken by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because yeah, how it is connected, how Rupa Goswami understood that both of them mean the same. But now when I heard both of your discussion, I think it became more clear with me that both mean the same, and Satyabhama also wanted him to keep the both separately.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
It's more clear with me. And I always felt amongst all the Shat Goswamis, Srila Rupa Goswami always had more mercy. I don't know if I'm correct in understanding this, because he wrote so many wonderful books, and like you said, he also got blessings from Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Acharya. And we are also called Rupanugas. Like,
Yes,
but
she is a Rupa Manjari, who is the head of all the Manjaris in the spiritual world.
okay.
Yeah.
So
So that's why other
sorry.
Manjaris, they all are working under the direction of Rupa Manjari.
Okay.
So that's why Rupa Goswami is so special, especially in Gaudiya Siddhanta and in our culture and our Gaudiya Vaishnavas, that we categorize ourselves as Rupanugas, that we want to follow and be the servant of the servant of the servant of Rupa Manjari.
Yeah, it makes more sense now to me. Thank you.
Also, I don't know, I'm just adding to the discussion because it was interesting.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I was also thinking, Rupa Manjari, also she's the leader of Lalita Sakhi's team, and Lalita is 100% pro Radharani. No, she's all so about Radharani. She doesn't tolerate Krishna's, whatever is overpowering. She's one Sakhi who is very protective of Srimati Radharani. As Gaudiyas, we are also actually followers of Srimati Radharani in one sense. It makes sense to kind of put that special spot for for Lalita and especially for Rupa, because that's what it is. I mean, the Manjaris are supposed to be more intimately associated than the Govinda level. Yeah, it makes sense.
Thank you, Preeti Vilasni Mataji. So just your point that how we Gaudiya Vaishnavas are the worshippers of Srimati Radharani. I just remembered, I was hearing a class where it was being mentioned that how when Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to take group of devotees to Govardhan, Radhakund and Shamkund, there they would see so many devotees offering so much dandavats to Shamakund. And then all the devotees were asking Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, see their mood, see their love. They are offering so much to Shamakund and they are worshipping Krishna. And then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, yes, they worship Krishna and they offer one flower to Srimati Radharani thinking that she is just a devotee. But we Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we worship Srimati Radharani. And because Krishna is so beloved of Srimati Radharani, so we offer one flower to Krishna. But our mood is that we worship Srimati Radharani, and that too we don't ourselves offer. We offer it to the hand of Srimati Radharani that you please offer to your beloved. But we are exclusively, devoted to you. So this is the mood that, Gaudiya Vaishnavas are carrying, that we are the real worshippers of Srimati Radharani.
Wow, very beautiful. Very beautiful.
Very nice, Mataji. So nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Very wonderful class. And also so much of information, Mataji. Can I have a small clarifications, Mataji?
Yes, please go ahead.
Mataji, you mentioned that when Vasudev took the baby to Yashoda Maya, the baby, that's a Vasudev Krishna born for Devaki, he was merged with the Nanda's son, and they were in the same form. So I understand that when the Vrindavan pastimes are going on, so it was like a merged Krishna. One Krishna was enjoying everything. So when and then Brahad Bhagodam, when we learn the Akruva coming and taking away Krishna, so now I try to understand that the Nanda Gopal, he was staying in Vrindavan. So the Krishna who went with Akrura, so is he the part of Vasudev Krishna that was born to Devaki, or is that they both went? Because I have confusion now, Mataji.
Yes. Thank you so much, Lakshmi Mataji, for your beautiful question. Actually, I had the same doubt and I researched a lot, but nowhere it's mentioned that how the two Krishnas merged, but they unmerged when Akrura came. Nowhere it's mentioned.
Okay.
Rather, it's mentioned that Rupa Goswami actually then brings up this point in Laghu Bhagavatamrita that actually they are one. Krishna is Krishna, right? So what is this Vasudev Krishna and Nanda Krishna? So just to enhance his leelas, he did this. But actually Krishna is one. So Akrura, he took Krishna only. But Krishna in his Prakata Leela, he went with Akrura, and in his Aprakat Leela, he stayed in Vrindavan in the hearts of all Brajvasis. So their unmerging happened. Nowhere it's mentioned. Nowhere it's mentioned that that Yashoda Nanda Krishna stayed in Vrindavan and Vasudev Krishna went with Akrura. Nowhere it's mentioned. But there Rupa Goswami reconciled this statement that, he's stating that actually Krishna, he went with Akrura, but then he showed his Prakat and Aprakat Leela. In Prakat Leela, he went to Mathura, and in his Aprakat Leela, he stayed in the hearts of all the Brajvasis.
100% clear. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Because if I didn't raise this question now, then since I understood the merging theory or the merging concept, then I will imagine myself, then they should have unmerged and they would have been
Yeah.
like that. So it's very nice I raised the question and you gave the clear answer, Mataji.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your
Thank
wonderful
you.
question. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
But Mataji, when Krishna went out of the Vrindavan with Akrura, Akrura could see his four-handed form.
Yeah, that time he just want to make Akrura realize that, I'm not different from Krishna.
Okay, so that is not like an evidence that only
No, that is not the evidence that they unmerged. It's just
okay.
because Akrura, then he is the epitome of Vandanam, right? He started offering his prayers. So just to show him that he is non-different from Narayana, so Krishna showed his four-handed form. But nowhere it's mentioned that,
Okay.
the unmerging happened and then, Nandanandan Krishna stayed and Yashoda and Devaki Nandan Krishna went. Nowhere it's mentioned.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you.
So all this is so elaborately and so beautifully it is mentioned in Laghu Bhagavatamrita. And, I should admit that because of this particular one verse, I practically read, 1/4 of Laghu Bhagavatamrita yesterday, just because I want myself to be clear on all this. So
Yeah, so beautiful, Mataji. So beautiful.
Yes.
Hare Krishna,
Yeah.
Mataji.
Thank you.
Is somebody having any questions for Mataji? Mataji, I have one question. Maybe my question I may not put correctly, but they says, no, Mataji, Krishna left, but they could see Krishna everywhere because there is one more Krishna remaining. But how to understand? Like,
Beautiful question, Mataji. I didn't practically want to touch upon this topic, but because again, it's a very vast topic, but since you brought up, I'll just refer again from Laghu Bhagavatamrita also, where it mentioned that yes, once Krishna, it's a verse, Mataji, and I'll just read the translation. It's a one-line translation, but just to give a context, that when it is said that even the Brajvasis could see Krishna, right? Because Krishna was there in their hearts. And then Krishna revealed himself. So Laghu Bhagavatamrita, there is a verse, Avir Bhagavata Tibhyamsa Dui Prakashasya Sambhavet. His reappearance occurred in two ways, as revelation and then as arrival. So through his revelation, the gopis feel that Krishna is right in front of us. It's through their revelation, because he was in his aprakata form, he was there present in the hearts of all Vrajvasis. And then later, as Priti Vilasini Mataji was also putting this forward, that how in Padma Purana it is described that Krishna actually came back. So these two reappearance occurs in Vrindavan. One is as revelation and another is as an arrival of Shri Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for clarifying that. Thank you so much.
Sorry, sorry. Go ahead.
Hi, Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Could you, I love the class, it was beautiful, thank you. I want to listen again. Can you just repeat for me how it is that, it's the birth of Yogamaya and Krishna? There's some confusion for me. How it is that Vyasadeva, he brought Krishna to Mother Yashoda, yet Mother Yashoda also gave birth to him as well as Yogamaya. Can you just repeat that part
Yes.
for me?
Sure, Mataji. So what Laghu Bhagavatamrita says in a very simple terms, Yashoda, she gave birth to two children, one male child and another is a female child. The male child as Krishna and the female child as Yogamaya. But because of, first she gave birth to a male child, and because of that labor pain, she felt so sleepy that just after a few minutes, she also gave birth to a female child, but she wasn't aware of it. Because first reason is because she gave birth to a Yogamaya who, and she enveloped the intelligence of Yashoda, that Yashoda was also not aware that she gave birth to two children. So this is what about happened in Yashoda. There in prison house, Krishna, who is Vasudev, the four quadruples, right? So Vasudev with Pradyumna and Aniruddha, all three of them in one, as Narayana, they came in front of Vasudev and in a four-handed form, and they later on the request of Devaki, he came into two-handed form and as a small child. But before that, as a four-handed form, he instructed that please take me to Nanda Maharaj, and from there you can bring the daughter. And this is how the Kamsa will come to know that the eighth child is a girl child. So Vasudev followed the instructions, and Vasudev, he took that child, who is actually was Vasudev, Pradyumna and Aniruddha. So he took that child and he went to Nandanandan's home. He went to Nanda Maharaj's place. And there, without noticing the male child, Vasudev, he placed his child there and he took the girl child, because he has this intention in his mind, because he was already been instructed by Krishna that there is a girl child there, you bring that girl child. So he immediately left his child there and he took the girl child and bring back to the prison. Now there are two male children. Male children are there in front of in the house of Yashoda. So there, both of them merged together and they became one. So there how the merging happens. Literally, Laghu Bhagavatamrita, Rupa Goswami mentions this word merged, that Yashoda Nandan Krishna merged with Vasudev Krishna. You got this point, Mataji?
Yes. And one other thing, when you were retelling the story, another confusion was there. There's that quadruple expansion of Krishna. And so every time you mention the quadruple expansion, I think I've never hear the Sankarshan, right? So
he came as Balaram. Okay, Sankarshan is an expansion of Balaram.
Right.
So Sankarshan was already sent to the womb of Devaki to clear the womb, and then later he got transferred to Rohini's womb. right? So that is how Balaram came. But rest 3 of them were in Vasudev, and later in, how when Krishna left Vrindavan and then he did his Dwarka pastimes, from his body only, Pradyumna came out as the son of Krishna, and then Aniruddha came out as the grandson of Krishna. Right?
Wow, that was
Okay. Okay, Mataji. Okay, so at the time when Devaki and Vasudeva, they asked Krishna to assume his baby form. At that time, with only the 3, Vasudeva,
Yes.
Pradyumna, and Aniruddha.
Yes, they 3 were there.
Because Sankarshan had already come,
As Balaram.
and had gone to Mohini's room.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you. So this is also mentioned in Laghu Bhagavatamrita, that how later from Vasudev, Pradyumna came out and as a son, and then Aniruddha came out as a grandson. This is also mentioned in Laghu Bhagavatamrita.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Gaurangi Mataji. Yes, Vrinda Mataji, you were saying something?
Yeah, Mataji. So about seeing Krishna because of the revelations in mind. So we have heard like devotees also get to see Krishna face to face. Is it also because of the revelations in mind, or?
Wow, good question. This question I asked once to Hari Parshad Prabhu, and Hari Parshad Prabhu mentioned that Kali-yugi jivas are not so fortunate enough that they can see Krishna face to face. So yes, Krishna appears in the heart of devotees in performing different activities, different pastimes that can be revealed in the heart of the devotees. But as such, directly coming in right in front of Krishna's face to face, devotees don't have the opportunity of these Kali-yugi jivas. But as our acharyas always mention, that Krishna's name, pastimes, they are non-different from Krishna himself. He's the supreme absolute truth. So in that way, yes, it's only, in case of revelation, not as the actual arrival of Krishna.
Okay, Mataji. And one more last question, Mataji. Sorry,
Yes.
I'm asking too many.
No, please, Mataji, please. That helps me actually.
About Vasudev carrying Vasudev, like Krishna, to Vrindavan. So Vasudev did know, like Krishna's father, he did know that there are 3 kids, right? He did not know, or is it also because of Yogamaya? He also later on forgot that there were 3 kids when he went to Yashoda Mai's home.
Yeah, it's all because of the Yogamaya's potency only, that everybody fall asleep, the gates were opened, their shackles were broken. It's because now Yogamaya is there, right? And she took birth to put forward Krishna's pastimes, right? Krishna's Leela, to bring it into place. She came and she did everything. And she was there in Vrindavan the whole time.
Okay. So, but he saw there were 3 kids, right? There are 3 babies there, like one in his hand, one and...
No. He didn't saw 3 babies. He just saw 2, one with himself and one, the girl child. He didn't notice another Krishna there.
Oh, okay.
Vasudev didn't notice any Krishna there.
Krishna. Okay.
Yeah, because his conception was as the order of Vasudev, that you have to go keep me there and bring the girl child. So his mindset was just to bring the girl child. And so he just left. And also he was in a hurry, right? He has to go back in this, because Kamsa can know it. And every time he doesn't want that, everybody can see him outside the prison house. So he just kept Krishna there. He took the baby girl and he came out. So Nanda and Yashoda both were unaware of all this. That Vasudev came and he took the baby girl. They both were unaware of
it. Hare Krishna, one more question. I think I just wanted some clarification on this. So in this pastime of Krishna being exchanged and all this,
Mhm.
When did exactly, I mean, of course, to the external eyes, to everybody's eyes, of course, Devaki and Vasudev were the original parents. That's how everybody visualizes it. But of course, there are other secrets that Acharyas have revealed. Now, considering this, when did Nanda and Yashoda exactly know that this is not our child, meaning this is Devaki and Vasudev's son? Was it when Akrura came, or was it when Garga had done the naming ceremony?
No, when Garga did the naming ceremony at that time, he mentioned him as Vasudev Krishna, but he mentioned it in a covered way, because at that time Nand Maharaj didn't realize that, you know, what he's mentioning is about the Vasudev Krishna. So nowhere it's mentioned, because it's still last, you know, they were thinking that it's our child. They were not ready to believe that, you know, Krishna is not their child and he is the son of Devaki and Vasudev. So I don't know exactly, Mataji, but what I have this thing is, again, I'm sorry, it might be I'm wrong, but never heard of that, you know, they got this revelation that, you know, Krishna is not their child and he's the child of Devaki and Vasudev. Nanda and Yashoda were on the platform where they 100% realized that he was our child, and he went to protect Devaki and Vasudev as the devotees. And I may be wrong, Mataji, but I'm not sure whether I can answer your question 100%.
Yes, Mataji, I can understand. It's kind of very unclear, right? I mean, meaning
Yeah.
here, but it's there on different angles, so it's very difficult for us to come to
Yeah.
a conclusion like that. Yeah, and also about Devaki, no, Rohini's womb, Balaram's being there in Rohini's womb, and then getting transferred. Uh, the month difference between Krishna and Balaram is just like 2 3 days. Is that correct?
Is what?
I mean, sorry, 15 days difference, or is it?
Yeah, just a 15 days difference.
Oh, okay, 15 days. Okay. So,
Because Krishna and this Vasudev Krishna and Devaki and Yashoda Nandan Krishna, they both were born at the same time, and they both were born in the 8th month, not in the 9th month. It was a premature delivery, so called.
okay. Okay. Thank you, Mataji. So, meaning that, Rohini's womb, she was carrying him for a very long time then, Balaram.
Yeah, she carried Balram for a long time. Yes.
Okay. It's confusing, right? Yeah. So many yeah.
Inconceivable, I should say. Not confusing, but it's inconceivable.
Inconceivable. Very true. Very true. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Just transferring of a baby from Devaki's womb to Rohini's womb is quite inconceivable, right?
Yeah.
Today we are seeing all these test tube babies, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Even that also now it's so straightforward, right? Today's world transfers are pretty straightforward. Those days. Yeah. Yes, Mataji. Thank you very much for your time, Mataji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavad Pranam. Thank you for the beautiful class, Mataji. Mataji, I just got a doubt from the questions that as you said that Haripashad Prabhu said Kali Yuga Jivas are not so fortunate. But I have heard in one of the Prabhupada memories, one of the Prabhu's, Srila Prabhupada disciple mentioning that he went to Prabhupada's room and Prabhupada was sitting and crying. So he left the room immediately. Again he went and Prabhupada said, please come. And he said, by the mercy of my Guru, I'm seeing Krishna, like that. So how do we reconcile the both fact, Mataji?
Very simple, Mataji. Prabhupada is not a mere mortal soul of Kali Yuga.
So I wanted
Very
to hear
simple.
that.
Very simple. Prabhupada said to his disciples, right? Like when he was revealing all the swarupas of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and of Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, he was revealing that how they were all manjaris. They are all manjaris in the spiritual world. And then disciples asked Prabhupada that, please, if you know the swarupa of all your spiritual masters, then can you please tell us your swarupa? And then Prabhupada said, if I tell you, they will faint. So he's not the jiva of, this Kali Yuga. He just came to re-establish Krishna's principles that was lost after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left this, this material world. It was all lost. So just to re-establish and to help in the mission to establish this Mahaprabhu's mission, he came. So he is definitely not categorized as the jiva of this Kali Yuga. He was not a mere mortal soul like us.
Okay, thank you so much. Beautiful. Thank you. Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranams.
Hi, Krishna Mataji, I'm back.
Yes, please.
Yeah, just I think just a little while ago, was it with Preeti Vilasini Mataji that you were speaking about, how is it that, or when did Nanda Maharaj realize that
Krishna is not their
Krishna
son.
was not their son? So the reason why I'm asking about that is, if the two Krishnas, Krishna and Vasudeva, they merged, then why say that it's not his son?
Yeah, exactly. I mean? Exactly. That's what my point was when I was making to her, that even I have never heard of, because Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maharani were always in this impression that Krishna is their son, because she gave birth to child, and she was quite aware that she gave birth to one child. She wasn't aware of the girl child later on, but she was quite aware that she gave a birth to a child. So she was always in this impression that Krishna is my son, and he went to Mathura just to protect his devotees. So that's what's their conception.
And it's not, it's true. It is true. Yeah. She did give birth. Yeah.
Yes. There might be somewhere if it is mentioned, yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, no, because I just wanted to clarify, because I think it's much out there that, the conception that, she did not give birth to Krishna. Only Devaki gave, and then Krishna was brought out. So this conception of not everybody, I think, is so aware that Mother Yashoda gave birth to two children, not just Maya.
Yes.
And the other thing that your discussion brought out for me was, can you explain again, how is it that saying that she carried Balaram, Devaki carried Balaram for a very time, like unusual long time? I think we were.
No. Yeah, now. Devaki, she carried Balaram, right? Hare Krishna.
Me?
Yeah. So Devaki carried actually Balaram, but later, again, she transferred that Balaram to the child to Rohini's womb. Yes, she transferred that. She actually requested Rohini. So Rohini is also one of the wife of Vasudeva only. So she came to meet both of them in prison house, and there Devaki requested that, transfer this womb to your place. And then to Kamsa it was declared that it was a miscarriage. But actually Balaram is the son of Devaki and was transferred later to Rohini's womb. And then Rohini carried Balaram for a pretty long time. And then in the next year, in the 8th month, when Krishna took birth, so just before that, 15 days before Balaram, he appeared from Rohini's womb. Got it, Mataji? Hare Krishna. I can't hear you.
Look for point.
Your voice is breaking.
It's breaking, Mataji.
Your voice is breaking, Mataji. Can you type?
Okay. Oh. Yeah, I can help you later. It's okay.
I'll text you later, sure. Okay, so anyone else has any questions, any comments?
Hare Krishna Mataji. A small clarification again.
Yes, please.
Yes, this is not related to this topic, but it came somewhat it's related. Like yesterday we were reading the Mirabai story, Mirabai Krishna devotee. And we were reading with some of the kids in the house. So while we were reading for the first time, when it came to the end of the part, Krishna used to say to Mirabai, "You come to Vrindavan and sing for me there." So Mira goes there and sings there for some times. And then Krishna says, "You come to Madura and sing for me." And she goes to Madura and sings there. And again, he says, "You come to Dwaraka and sing for me." So she goes to Dwaraka. So there was a storyline like that with pictures we were reading. So even we had the discussion. Krishna is one, we know that. Why is asking to come to 3 different places and sing for me? We were just talking about it. So we are very well aware that Krishna is one. So one place should be fine. But he was specifically telling her, instructing her, come to Madura, come to Dwaraka, and also Vrindavan. So since the topic is same today, we didn't get an answer at that time. Why he instructed that. So is there any ideas about that, Mataji?
Again, the same thing, right? That the Krishna's pastimes are not limited only to Vrindavan. And she was not on a pure, bhava where, she was like, I don't want to comment on as such, but, what I heard is that actually Mirabai, she went to Vrindavan on the instructions of Srila Jiva Goswami, that how Jiva Goswami instructed her. So it's also mentioned, if I'm not wrong, that she finally took initiation also from Jiva Goswami. But we don't discuss much on Mirabai. Of course, she is altogether on a different platform, and she was so much wholeheartedly devoted to Krishna. No offense against all that. But, she was also in a Madhurya Bhava, though it was on the Swakya that she wants to marry Krishna. But our Acharya says that, our mood is not on to the level where we can be in one of the rasa with Krishna, where it is Parakya rasa or it's a Swakya rasa. But our mood, the acharyas that carry the mood in our sampradaya, is that we are dasa dasa anudasa. So we don't carry, the mood. Even when Mahaprabhu said that actually Madhurya Ras is the highest, so there also, it's not that we sadhakas should aspire to have that Madhurya Ras with Krishna, is that we should enable that Madhurya Rasa with Krishna, with other gopis, by being the servant of those gopis and sakhis, by being the servant of the servant. It's not that I started developing that Madhurya Rasa with Krishna. So that is literally prohibited. We should not go, but our mood should be that, we are supporting that Madhurya Rasa by being the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. So that's the mood, we carry. And that's why, our acharyas simply don't prefer discussing much on Mirabai's pastimes. But yes, she is definitely a very elevated saint, and she left everything just because of Krishna. But as you said that, she's been instructed to sing Krishna's glories in Vrindavan, Mathura, and Dwarka. So again, I don't have any concrete or any shastric reference to it, But what I can think of is because Krishna's pastimes are not only limited to Vrindavan, they are in Mathura and Dwarka also. And since Mirabai, she was in that Swakhya Bhava, which is prevalent in Dwarka, so that's why she got that instructions. But again, seriously speaking, I don't have any Shastric reference to it.
Wonderful, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, sorry,
Yes,
Mataji,
please.
my questions are not getting over.
No worries, Mataji, please. I
Uh,
am okay.
okay. So Vasudev never revealed this exchange of Krishnas to Yashoda and
No, never.
just remained
Never.
between the three of them, Devaki,
Yes,
Vasudeva, and Vasudeva Krishna.
yes.
Oh,
And of course, Yogamaya, because as soon as she slipped, she was Yogamaya till the time she was in the hands of Vasudev. But as soon as Kamsa touched her and snatched the baby, that Yogamaya, she turned into Mahamaya, and she slipped off the hands of Kamsa, and she, assumed the 8-handed form. And then she told that the child who is going to kill you has already taken birth.
mm.
So till that time she was Yogamaya, but as soon as she was touched by Kamsa, she became Mahamaya and slipped off from his hand.
And also, I just wanted to comment further for
Yes, please, Mataji.
even Vasudev also, yes, initially it was a secret that he had kept, but even Vasudev was also covered by Yogamaya. I mean, not Vasudev, sorry. Yeah, sorry, I didn't have to comment on this. Okay, sorry.
Come on, please go ahead. Please, whatever. This was quite nice. Please go ahead, Mataji.
I got confused, Mataji. I wanted to say Nanda Maharaj was also knowing, yeah, the child was exchanged, and he always felt that this is my baby. Sorry.
That's fine. I'm glad at least you started speaking. You never speak in my class. I don't know why. But thank you. Thank you. So, Vrinda Mataji, is it clear?
Yes, Mataji, very much clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? It's already 12:30. I think so. There is another class in 12:30. You can start. Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, you want to take over?
Yes, Mataji, thank you so much for the beautiful class and lot of question answer session for your
I was expecting today somehow because the topic was such. Yeah.
very beautiful class and very beautiful question answer session, Mataji. Thank you once again. I would like to offer my obeisances and all the Matajis and all Prabhujis. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila
Jai.
Jai Guru Maharaj Jai.
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 Vrinda Mataji ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.